Good evening from Super League HQ. Fifey here once again. I know you're bored of hearing from me, but hopefully Ryan is on the way back to full health and will be able to take you on the journey on Tuesday. I have got Ian and Rob in the studio. Which one of you's got your YouTube on? Can you switch it off, please? Thank you.
Sorry.
So, good evening, Ian. How are you, pal?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on. You all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. And fresh from his second batch of the flu that we don't like to talk about, Mr. Marshall's with us as well. How are you, pal?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pull through, which is probably disappointing for some people.
And well, quite indeed. I know there's a certain haggis, as well as maybe the odd Tato here and there, that will be very disappointed to hear that news. Then again, he's still seeking stardom, and you're the only one that's going to get him there. So
That's right, mate.
When the return of the pod comes, because you're fit and well again, I'm sure he will be delighted. And thank you both for joining me. As you can see on the screen, you play each other tonight in what is a critical game. We were just saying off air that this is the first time I can remember we've got to 3 games to go and nobody has a queue yet, but we're expecting 1 or 2 maybe tonight, potentially. Just a little bit of admin, if I may, before we start. I promised a couple of announcements. We are obviously getting towards the end of the season. Everyone's asking about transfers, etc. Once again, I'll reaffirm, I will tell you what's going on with transfers at the end of the regular season. However, before we do that, we need to know which managers are planning on staying and if any jobs are likely to become available. So, if over the course of the next 5 days or so, basically by Friday, if all managers can DM the Flamingos account and confirm whether you plan on staying so we can sort that out ready for the new season, I would very much appreciate it. Also, as per Ryan's message earlier in the group chat, Wednesday's show is moving to Tuesday, and I am then going to look to finish the season on Friday with the playoffs starting this time next week, playoffs starting on Sunday. The only other thing I can think that I wanted to announce was with the Friday show, all being well, and if you guys are up for it, what I'd like to try is sort of an open forum on the Zoom, as many managers on as possible, and you can all be commenting on your own games. It will still be streamed via YouTube as well for the fans, but I'd maybe like to try and get a few of us on for live reactions to most of the games. So let's see how it goes. But if you're up for it, let me know, and we'll try and sort that for Friday. But yes, we are looking to do Super League Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, with the playoffs beginning. I hope that suits everyone's cravings. Gents, obviously we'll save your game till last, and I've been asked by the Dragons assistant, Mr. Smuts, to put them on late because he's still travelling back, so it'll be a late night for Mr. Horse. Ian, as you were first on, is there any game you'd like to start with tonight, or are you happy to just go as we click?
I would say let's go to Boston.
You want to go to Boston v Haggis?
Let's do Greavesy a favour.
And ironically, that's where we were clicking anyway. So, Rob, as you are at home tonight, I will ask you to comment on all the home teams, if if that's okay with you, or do you specifically want to discuss Haggis?
I don't care about Haggis. They're just so they're just fuck Haggis. They're not a part of my problem, you know.
Well, in that case, this is the Loco team for tonight, mate.
Yeah.
It's the same tactic file, but a couple of personnel changes. It's the mid-press version. Guerrero, again, going to be a star player, you would imagine. Interesting to see what Scholes and Del Vecchio can offer in the important AM positions.
Always interesting. I like Guerrero, but he's constantly injured as well, like injured all the time, which is why I shipped him off. But yeah, I mean, Greaves, I think I feel about Greavesy how Macca feels about my side. I just despise everything about it. You know, the shithousery, the 1-0 wins. You know, it's just Yeah.
You're cut from the breed of cloth, if you like, where you're a great entertainer, so I can understand why the shithouse 0-0 and 1-0s would frustrate you.
I'd describe myself as,
Whereas Ian, you're obviously very much in the camp of if you win every game 1-0, you're very happy.
A 1-0 win is satisfying. I wouldn't have myself down as a 1-0 merchant.
No, not you're not in Greaves's level, that's for sure.
No. And I know there's a couple of managers around who do kind of pride themselves on their Mourinho-ness, and as a United fan, I mean, the Mourinho years were dark days as far as I'm concerned. It's a style of football that doesn't wash with me. But
is it worth me asking you if the Mourinho days were as dark as the Solskjaer days?
I'd take Solskjaer over Mourinho any day of the week, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, though, it's like surely the Super League, we should be here to entertain. We should be, looking to get people in. And then first game on is Locomotive Boston at home, who are going to shit house Haggis 1-0. It's just the guy shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the Super League. He's a disgrace. He's a disgrace.
Well, let's talk about the away side, Ian, and picking up on Rob's comments there about it being a disgrace. I believe he did confirm in the chat in front of everybody that he didn't even submit a team for this game. It's the first time during my tenure I can think someone hasn't submitted a team.
Well, is that how many strikes is that then? That's surely breaking some kind of Super League code, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't want to tell the co-chair what to do, but surely that's minimum requirement is to submit a team.
There has been discussions outside of the non-submission of a team, don't you worry. But it is only the first time it's happened, so we will give a warning at this point.
One thing I would say about that team is this looks to be like a battle of the four across DM, doesn't it? I mean, Greavesy prides himself on that four across, and it keeps teams at bay, including ourselves. And then you've got Cole, Vieira, Mendieta, Duff across that DM4, which is absolutely solid. The difference being that Ian's got the guys up top who should be doing the damage for him as well. Nice to see Larson back in the fold a bit more regularly, and Shevchenko up top as opposed to at AM. So definitely there's a combination within there somewhere to put any team to the sword.
This side though, he has everything you want, doesn't he? He has Shevchenko, Vieira, Mendieta, Stam, Casillas, Cole, Duff. How can he not get? How tactically inept is Campbell? He can not get
Well, you could count Cordoba in there as well as a class. Yeah. I mean, anywhere across defence is a class act. So
without wishing to throw anyone under the bus with this, because it's not in my nature to be calling people out, but you've made the point here. When you see the likes of Shevchenko, Cole, Vieira, Mendieta, Cordoba, Stam, Casillas to a point, and then you see the job being done at Halls at the same time, who in your opinion, Rob, is doing the worst job with what's available?
I think they're Ronnie and Reggie, aren't they? They're both equally as bad as each other. How can you look at the side that Halls has got as well? They just everyone was touting him to win it this year, weren't they? At the start of the season. I mean, I wasn't because I've got a brain cell, but
Sorry, carry on.
No, I mean they're both equally as bad as each other. I mean. But this Haggis thing just fucking irates me so much. Even I could get a tune out of that, and I'm shite. I don't. Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, let's because I don't wish to offend Jens, who's already taken exception to that question being asked, especially after I tipped him to finish in the top 2 as well this year, because clearly I don't have a brain cell, to paraphrase yourself there, Rob. What's your prediction for this one, please?
My prediction is a 1-0 shithouse to Locomotive Boston and a Guerrero injury, hopefully.
Okay, and Ian?
I can't argue with that at all.
And Mr. Megahorse is first in saying 0-1 is his prediction as we kick off the first game of the evening. Plenty of pink and white early doors, expecting an early goal maybe here, the home side. But no, it's Haggis, it's Shevchenko. It's been disallowed. Nikiforenko was offside. A lack of animation from either of my studio guests here. But Sahar has given Haggis the lead, and Rob has a big smile on his face as that one's gone in. And Casillas has picked up an injury.
What? I just thought he didn't have a keeper on the bench then. And I was going to.
I was very concerned that he didn't.
Yeah. I don't think does any manager not have a keeper on the bench? Nobody does it, do they? In the Super League?
No, every manager, as far as I can recall.
I did it for about 10 games and then bottled it because I thought you never
it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Well, we have brought on the substitute goalkeeper. How much, Ian, do you think that's a downgrade on Casillas?
No, I don't think it's too much of a problem. I think he's a decent-ish keeper, and week to week, Casillas is hot and cold. I don't think that's too bad at all. I mean, it's not unheard of for Ian to have subbed Casillas at half time anyway in the past.
This is true.
So, no, I don't think so.
Well, both managers are in the chat, I've seen. So we'll start with the home side, and Ian, I'll let you pass comment as Rob previewed it. What are you seeing that maybe surprises you or doesn't surprise you? I mean, it's been average, really, hasn't it? No one's excelling. That they're creating chances but not getting any on target. The stats suggested.
Yeah, I mean, the flashes of pink and white, they do kind of promise more pizzazz than they actually deliver, don't they? Mm-hmm. Not a great deal has happened at all, really. I mean, they've had a decent-ish bit of possession. Each player's had a turn on the ball, but average ratings are pretty woeful. 3 shots on goal, 4 shots on goal, none on target isn't great for a first half at home when you've got the likes of Montella, Scholes, Guerrero. But yeah, if you do line up reasonably defensively, you are probably going to struggle to create too much.
And Greasy's already come in saying keepers is. Would you be tempted, looking at Junior already being on 83%, to be swapping him?
You know my feelings about half-time subs.
This is very, very true.
It rarely happens.
And Rob, looking then at the away side, while Ian gets a chance to review his figures, it looks a little bit more promising, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, things are looking up for Campbell, aren't they? He might finish 9th this season, which would be nice for him. That'd be good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like to quote you, 5, it's just a bit meh, isn't it? It's just a bit. There's no excitement. This is what I was trying to say. The Super League needs excitement, and when you got chumps like these two putting out this shit at the start of first game of the night, it's just not good enough.
And both managers are keeping it as is, so we're able to get the second half underway quickly. And Loco have equalised. Montella, I believe that said his 10th for the season, and looking for a quick-fire second as well. But Haggis have weathered that particular storm and start coming for themselves. We'll slow the commentary down a little bit, much to Rob's dismay. Steve suggesting in the chat, Sahar is doing bits now. What exactly is Sahar doing, Rob?
He does have a bit of pedigree, doesn't he? Super League pedigree, Sahar. He's shown in the past that he can do stuff in different iterations of the game.
Montella hitting the side netting now inside the last 10 minutes. Rob, are you expecting a winner?
I'm expecting a Loco 91st, to be honest. Anything else would be disappointing.
I don't think it's a result that would suit either team, so someone needs a goal.
Do either realistically have any chance still of the top 6, in your opinion, Ian?
I think Loco do, if they win tonight, definitely.
Yeah, I think Loco need a goal and they're still in it.
Well, it's definitely the away side coming forward, but Shevchenko misses the target. Coming into injury time now. Barthez, but it's Nikiforenko, Shevchenko offside this time. 3 minutes being added on. It's still the away side piling on the pressure. And nearly through Sahar that time. Last minute. Harsh free kick. But here come Haggis again. It's Wayne Dade who's refereeing this one. And it ends 1-1. As 1-1s go, we've definitely seen worse 1-1s, haven't we, Rob?
To be honest, I can't. My encyclopedic knowledge of 1-1s is I'm struggling to grasp one at the moment, but I'm sure there must have been worse ones. I've probably been involved in a few stinkers myself. Yeah.
And let's have a look at the Loco side then. They certainly up their output,
good
didn't
numbers.
they? I mean, you're seeing a couple of 9s there, a few 8s as well.
Loco probably on the balance should have probably won it really, but I can imagine. Obviously, we haven't seen the Haggis stats yet, but you'd like to think that Loco would have won that. But that's them out of the playoffs now, so it's one less person to overtake me, isn't it?
And Ian, when you look at the Haggis stats at the end of the game, especially when you couple it with the text commentary we see, it certainly looked like they were the team that were going to score a late goal. But it's in fact the substitute keeper who's most impressed.
Yeah, substitute keepers had a great game. I mean, they've had a decent second half. They've got on the ball a lot more looking at it in the second half. And, 9 times out of 10, Ian's going to be happy with that point. I just feel as though felt like there could have been something more in the game for them with Loco not really going for it when they probably had to. Another kind of average performance from Vieira, which is something I know Ian wants to look at. He's tried to put a lot of tackles in, only made half of them, barely touched the ball, comes away with another 7. I mean, if we're talking best player in the Super League, he's got to start showing more than he is. But yeah, goalkeeper Stipe has come on and done well for him.
And just having a look through the chat, Rob, I can see you've switched on, so I don't need to tell you what Jens has said about about a trip to Kurdistan. But Duggan's saying really felt Loco were nicking that. Greavesy said, well played, Ian. Good luck, everyone, for the playoffs. I'm out of it now. And Jens, wow, what a surprise Loco drew. Let's move on to match 2, and it's certainly not that one. Let's move on to Hools v the Devils. And again, Rob, I will offer you the home team here. They have gone largely unchanged. The only amendment from last time is Malewski is suspended, so he has been replaced by this guy who I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because I will butcher it, absolutely butcher it. I am awful with names, especially ones with accents.
Asensau, I think, yeah.
I was going to go with Asensau, but I thought, no, it can't be that straightforward.
Where was he? Let's click on his history. Who's this guy?
Who's this guy? He's been at Halls the whole time.
There we go. Right. Well, he's not played many games, does he? So, old Jens Boy doesn't fancy him, but he can't be any worse than what he's been turning out so far.
It is worth pointing out because Jens was a little bit upset by me comparing his performance to Haggis. They have won the last 2 games as well.
Yeah, but they're still 12th.
It's a little bit frustrating that Asensau hasn't been swapped over with Liverani.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I do that.
Yeah, see, this is something I've asked a couple of times in recent weeks, how people feel about, say, a DMRC or a DMLC playing on the opposite side to what their letters say.
I don't think it matters. You know what I mean? Do you know what? I don't think any of this matters. I think nothing matters. Why are we here? What's it all about?
We are here because this is the greatest football content on the planet right now, including the actual Premier League, which is absolute dross unless you're a West Ham fan.
Yeah, but what about the bigger picture, though, Fifey? What are we really here for?
We are here to entertain.
No, the big picture, though. The big picture. Let's get deep. Let's get meaningful.
Go on then. You tell us why we're here.
Well, it's not for the molestation of cats. That's for one.
Okay, moving on. What do you think to this team?
Again, it's Haggis-esque, isn't it? It's Candela, Thuram, Liverani, Brozek, Crespo. It's this guy. This guy should be 5th or 6th, shouldn't he? He should be pushing. Maybe look at the tactics. Maybe that's something to do with it. I'm a fine one to talk, but he should be higher in the league, shouldn't he? Really.
And what's your take on Van Nistelrooy being omitted from the entire matchday squad now?
Well, he obviously doesn't fancy him, does he? He's got Rivaldo on the bench as well, but where does he fit in that system? But, look at Van Nistelrooy's stats. They're outrageous. Look at it. Look at that.
He's generally one of those who, and Ian will obviously know this as well from the many years you've been involved. He never quite hits the numbers of other strikers. I mean, you've got one obviously in Sigalko who gets considerably better numbers than Van Nistelrooy gets.
I think you just need to. All these guys are capable. You've got to find the way of unlocking them. And the two things that I guess you don't do to unlock their potential is the same thing over and over again when it isn't working, or stick them on the bench or don't have them in the team. Those two things are not going to get you goals from that guy. So the trick is to play them, but to find the right method in which... I mean, I know some people say if Van Nistelrooy is not at United, he's not going to score goals, but he has done it in the Super League once or twice, same as Sigalko, but has now proven that he can do it in the Super League after never really doing it. So all these guys can be unlocked, but yeah, you've just got to tinker and find the key.
I mean, I think if anyone should be going 3 up top, it should be Jens with his options.
Carrying on the earlier debate, Steve's put an 11 nowhere near as strong as Haggis's personally, the Hall's team. I would perhaps disagree with that slightly. And Mega Horse confirming that he does score plenty in Swent, but that is because there's about 20 of him in there. Ian, this is the Devils team. Again, quick look. One change. Van Bronckhorst moves inside, and Harry Kuehl, who I seem to remember the former Devils manager getting a lot of criticism for playing Harry Kuehl in this position. Because it's Hodgie, I bet it's going to be perceived as a genius move.
Well, I mean, we talk about Haggis's team being strong. We talk about Hull's team being strong. We look at Devils, and we're probably looking at the strongest team in the league. Pound for pound, position for position. You can move one or two guys out of position, I think, and because the team is going to play well, the guy who's not necessarily playing in his ideal preferred position is probably still going to have a good game. And Van Bronckhorst over the past 2 or 3 years has been one of the best unsung heroes on the game. He's been absolutely fantastic. He just doesn't get particularly mentioned an awful lot. I mean, there you go, 792 last season, fantastic. But obviously, Kieran Dyer got all the plaudits on the other side of the pitch. So yeah, you could probably stick 1 or 2 donkeys in that team, and they'd be carried along. So
Van Bronckhorst actually pulls out better numbers than Dyer.
Yeah. I mean, apart from occasionally flirting with bringing Tobias Grahn in, I mean, generally speaking, Swindon Devils usually have just about the best starting 11 week in, week out.
Solid, aren't they? It's absolutely solid. Like 1 to 11 is absolutely solid.
And that's shown in the fact that what was the stat we saw at the start? They're 9 unbeaten now, is it? 9 without a loss, I think it is.
I mean, that's proper Hodgie, isn't it? He goes on runs. He finds a certain point in the season where he just sticks to his guns and just churns it out. Well,
Devils are wearing their Bolton Phoenix tribute kit, as am I tonight, as Ian's already commented on off camera. Ian, I'll let you go first. What's your prediction for this one, please?
I'm going away win by the odd goal, but I think Hulls will score, so I'm going to say 1-2.
1-2, Rob?
I'm going to go for a 4-1 Devils. I think there could be a bit of a bump in.
4-1 Devils. Jens has already come in with a 0-4. Steve Wright saying 1-0. And Duggan saying he would have GVB over Vieira every day of the week.
Ooh. I'm not sure he would.
I'll leave you two to ponder that one. We kick off the game, and it looks like Devils have started very quickly, looking for an early goal. But Hawes are now starting to come back into it themselves. But it's still largely red and yellow. It looks to me anyway. Seeing Crespo's name starting to appear and Gerrard, so the names that Jens will be looking for, and it's Brozek, another disallowed goal. Steve is right in his comment earlier. There does seem to be an unreal amount of disallowed goals this season. It's let me try that again. A claim for a penalty there for the Devils, but not given. Will we get a goal before half-time? No. Feeding into Ryan's agenda that there's a lot of 0-0s at half-time, but very, very even first half that. I think Jens will be relatively pleased, don't you, Rob?
He should be absolutely delighted, shouldn't he, really? Or Frankie Costanzo, 9, keeping him in it maybe. But, yeah, plenty to build on. Is he going to do anything off the bench? That's the question. You've got to get Rivaldo in there, haven't you?
Well, I was going to say, what would you be doing in this situation, given how relatively well they're playing against the much more fancied away side, but they are at home? Would you be looking to bring Rivaldo on, and if so, who for?
Maybe Oliveira. I'm not too sure. Have a bit of a swap around, but yeah, he needs to. I mean, I think this is the difference, isn't it? I mean, if it was me, I'd try and probably go for the win. But is he going to be happy with a draw against Devils?
Surely Oliveira's untouchable, isn't he? After last time out, he's got to give him the second half.
Apparently not, because in the chat it's exactly that. It's Oliveira off for Rivaldo.
Really? Did he not score 2 last game?
He did. When you look at the Devils team, obviously, again, it was fairly even, but they were a bit more economical in front of goal, at least getting them on target. Is it just a case of carry on as you are, Ian, and the goal will come?
I think so. I think you've got to go by the philosophy that the cream will rise, haven't you? And just keep plodding on. Looking at the involvement of the 2 centre backs, they've not had a great deal to do, have they? And what they have done, they've been called upon and done it well. So obviously, you'd like to get the ball up to Amar and up to Mpenza a little bit more, but they've got 45 minutes to do it. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. And obviously, I was going to say, obviously, Kieran Dyer's seen plenty of the ball, so you'd expect something from him second half.
Yeah, and interestingly, the 2 players we picked out before the game, Harry Kuehl already on an 8, whereas Van Bronckhorst, who has been moved, is just putting in an average performance by his standard.
Yeah, doesn't seem to have again been called upon too much. I do think they'll probably control the game a little bit more second half. Gattuso seems to be doing all Van Bronckhorst's work for him, so yeah, we'll see.
Steve suggesting in the chat that Kuehl's 8 is generous, and Duggan saying all 14 teams definitely play the offside trap. Hodgie's not in the chat; he's working nights, so we will kick off the second half and see what comes. 10 minutes in, and it is Van Bronckhorst who scores, gets his goal. And all the praise that he was receiving pre-match now very much warranted. We'll slow it down to see if Halls can find an equaliser, but it's the Devils who are coming forward. It was Dyer with that opportunity. Too many minutes are ticking by without anything for Jens's liking. Although he was fearing a 0-4, so he might still be somewhat pleased to only be 1-0 down. Moving towards injury time, and it's Devils coming forward again. Van Bronckhorst. No, Halls managed to clear their lines. Seems to be their defence. Oh, and we've got a late injury. I mean, I imagine he will move Liverani forward.
There's not an awful lot he can do, is there, really?
It's not a great deal here, if I'm honest.
You could maybe move one of those 2 forward and bring Mendes in place of him, but it's not really attacking options on the bench, is there?
No, absolutely not. And it's a shame that it's happened in the 90th minute as well, because I'd like to just click away and get on with it. But we will give Jens a chance to decide exactly what he wants to do, just in case he can. Zanoni. Oh yeah, okay, Zanoni with Liverani MC. Just in case they can force themselves an injury time equaliser. Oh, I saw the black and white text. I thought they might do it. Rivaldo's still coming forward, but Montero gets in the way. And there is the full-time whistle. Ian Campbell with GVB over Vieira is what you would say when you're sniffing glue.
The numbers don't lie, do they, this season? So sniff away.
Fairly even game. It's just Halls were not potent in front of goal, really, was their main issue. Ian Costanzo getting man of the match. He's starting to come of age a little bit now, isn't he?
It's a positive for Jens, isn't it? Because I know he did bring Dida in for quite a few games when he got fed up of Costanzo. Costanzo's done quite well recently for Halls. I do think that seems to be one position where he doesn't have to think about for next season. He can just sort of crack on next season and just say, like, yeah, he's my keeper. Let's leave him alone. But I think, yeah, I mean, the main bonus you've got for Jens tonight is it's another 90 minutes gone and another 90 minutes closer to next season, isn't it?
But and ultimately, you look at the individual player ratings, quite a few of them played quite well.
Yeah, they were in the game. But it's the same old story of not being able to get the superstar strikers to score. And normally he relies on maybe Brožek to come in and make that up for him, and he hasn't contributed either.
And Rob, when you look at the Devils team, pretty much the word that was used at the start, just solid. It reeks of quality, doesn't it? That
it stinks of it. They're just so hard to beat as well. Was that 10 unbeaten now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So consistent, so hard to beat. And they get goals all over the pitch. When Penn's not scoring, Van Bronckhorst's picking up a few. Yeah, they're going to be very difficult to beat, aren't they, this season?
And good evening, Mr. Smuts, who's made it in just game 2, so we don't necessarily have to put the Dragons on as late as he suggested. Just one more comment on the Devils then, Rob. When we can see obviously how tight it is between Bern, Fulchester, Bostock, still 2 games left to go. Can Devils again nick a top 2 spot, do you think?
I think it's Bern and Fulchester to lose, isn't it, really? Especially with their fixtures they've got left. It's if I was Ian or Mac, I'd be disappointed to not finish in the top 2.
Well, it looks like Smuts has come at just the right time, because we tick over to Lettersford V Dragons. Ian, this is how the away side, they go unchanged from their last result, so they're sticking with the one at the back. Obviously last time out they beat Astor 2-0. One at the back's been a discussion point a few times. People are not necessarily scared to try it anymore, but it more concerned to use it away from home. So do you think this is a risk, playing Lettersford?
It's a risk every week. I mean, it's probably less of a risk against Lettersford, if Dan doesn't mind me saying so, because as he's mentioned in the past, he doesn't get an awful lot of shots away, and those shots that he does get away don't always go on target. So, I mean, if you're going to do it against any team, as solid as Lettersford are, and as much as they churn out the victories, you may be less likely to get pumped by them. But it is a risky one, because you are likely for a hammering at any point during the season. But I do wonder whether it smacks of more of a refusal just to play 2 at the back rather than anything else.
And again, when you actually see the team on paper, Rob, you've got Lucio, Davids, Balmer, Zauri, Cliver, Madeira to an extent. I know it's easy to say that every team in the Super League has quality, but he's muted himself and switched his camera off. I think he's disappeared. I'll ask you then, Ian. Should Dragons really, considering they finished top and got to the final last season, should this team have done better this year?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they've got a fantastic team, haven't they? I'm racking my brains trying to think who the centre-back would be that would normally partner Lucio, and I'm sure it's someone good. Is it West? Have they also got Taribo West to add to the mix?
Yeah, West would be the obvious one. Obviously, 14 appearances this year. And Ronnie Johnson's the other one who features from time to time.
Another fantastic defender. So, and then Boomer, Emerton, fantastic names. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Mark Kerr than most people are. I think it's somewhere probably between Myth and Maestro. I'm not sure is as bad as people sort of make out. It's a fantastic squad. He's been on the right end of a couple of ropey transfer deals as well to strengthen the squad. So he should definitely be higher. They should definitely be higher than they are.
And this is what Dan has come up with. He's kept the same tactic file. Now, I enjoy a narrative, as you know, and I enjoy focusing on every possible negative I could do when I had my tenure as manager. The word depleted came up for the Lettersford squad. He has 2 suspended. I don't necessarily think that's depleted. I mean, yes, it's 2 important players for him, but it's hardly a depleted squad in my opinion.
I mean, Christian Kivu's been hit and miss in the Super League. Wes Brown is a Super League winner.
As is Kivu.
Yeah, and he's had a good season. So Ekyog shouldn't be too much of a miss. Vogel is a bit of a miss. A lot of a miss. Agarhau was an interesting one. Came in a blaze of glory and has been knocked back to the bench. So it does show the squad is pretty decent. I don't think many. I mean, it shows what a good job Dan's done. I don't think many managers would swap squads with him, in all honesty. And you have to say that the best thing that he's done, I mean, he came in and did really well, but then he had a bit of a ropey spell. And I think the best thing he's done this season is weather the storm and turn it around and go again. And that's probably the thing that's the most difficult to do in this league. So that really shows the measure of these guys more than anything for me.
The key man in the team, Petkov, playing in something like his 28th different position and tactic this season. Dan, if you're very quick and you want to pick a captain, you can do, or if you don't do it in the next 30 seconds, we'll just let the computer pick. Rob's back with us. Rob, you got a chance here to see the Lettersford team. Do you subscribe to the Dan is one of the better managers for what he's achieved with the squad, or should this squad be competing?
Yeah, he's doing all right, isn't he? He's done really well since taking over. I like his psychological warfare he plays on people as well in the chat. You know, he says he has a go at people telling you you can't play this at the back, can't do this formation, can't do that one, and people fall into his trap. And I think that's what's happened this week with the one at the back. And I think the old boys are going to steal the victory here.
You may well have put it on there and I've just overlooked it. So thanks for confirming, Dan. Rob, Dragons in their sexy away kit. What's
Beautiful.
Your prediction for this one?
I love that away kit. Can we just have a moment for how nice that is? It's one of the better ones, isn't it?
Just not press anything and enjoy the away kit.
Beautiful. I'm going to go Lettersford. There are 2-0.
Ian?
I was just about to say the same, 2-0 home win.
Okay, I will kick off. I'll wait to see who the first person to stick a prediction in the chat is. And Lettersford, after just 4 minutes, have taken the lead. It's Etsa Berea. Mike Savage saying, "Come on, you Leds." Steve Wright confirming Dragons away kit is fantastic. And we have an injury, and it's Wes Brown, one of the players that you mentioned, Ian.
And the one... He's got a bit of shifting around to do, hasn't he? Because his two centre-back replacements are playing in DM.
I'm going to imagine he will move Patsazoglu back and bring Ambrosini on.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Or Addo.
The thing with Addo is he's left-footed and he's already got Kivu there. So I think I'll prep it in anticipation. Let's see if I can do a Ryan. Ryan's normally good at predicting people's subs, so I'm going to do that and wait for... wait for confirmation. Just go through the chat. Dan's saying don't mind losing to the kit. Yen's saying hope Dragons get smashed. And Steve Wright wants Enrique to come on with a massive arrow. Now, and Duggan saying one at the back. You all remember the ruling that you can't change tactics. So it's just a straight sub. You can move players around, but you can't change the tactics. Ambrosini on with Pat back, just as you said. So we will carry on. And 25 minutes in, let's see if we got any more goals coming. At least we got some first half goals in this game. It's all Lettersford, it seems to me at least, as we approach injury time in the first half. Dragons just creating a chance or two, but Constantinou on the stroke of half-time makes it 2-0, the score you both predicted. It looked a lot more than the stats suggest, didn't it, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at a slight disadvantage. I don't get to see on Zoom. I don't get to see everything. Excuse me.
How do you mean?
Sorry about that. So it flew by for me with very little activity. So 3-2 and 1-1 seems exactly what I was looking at.
And if we take a click onto the home side stats, the injury to Wes Brown certainly didn't cause any issue, and Ambrosini's come on and had a bit of an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got, his boys at the back are doing the job for him, aren't they? He'll, like I said, it should be pretty easy from now on to see this out. No problems. Nice to see Ronnie picking up an assist as well.
He's certainly been back, or seemingly back to his best this season. After, I think it was the first season at Devils, he did quite well, then went off the boil a little bit before being exchanged to Lettersford, and now certainly seems to be ticking along nicely again.
Yeah, I can't believe that you, because I was badgering you for months about Ronaldinho, and then you gave him away in a really shit deal just to I know what you do.
I don't think it was a really shit deal.
It was for me.
It was for you, maybe. So Rob, I'll stick with you. If we look at the away side, it's just been an absolute shitfest from the goalkeeper, hasn't it?
Giotis is about as much use as Anne Frank's piano there. You know what I mean? It's absolutely awful. But that's it. You get a lot of this, don't you? You get a lot of your goalkeepers just playing abysmally, and then you're fucked, aren't you? You have a fall from your keeper, you've had it. I mean,
Emerton's playing well, Ian, but apart from that, no one's even recognising the fact that the keeper's having a poor game and really putting the effort in. Or Lettersford just completely outplaying them.
I think that's sod's law, isn't it? People talk every week in, week out about how Emerton does absolutely nothing for the Dragons, and the one week he turns up is the only guy who does so. But yeah, it's not been a great half for them. The only guy who's done anything, like Rob says, there's nothing you can do when your keeper does that, because any time the ball goes near their goal, it goes in. What can you do apart from sub him?
Well, Smuts has replaced the goalkeeper. He has also said all the changes, please. So I'm just waiting to see if he's making any more before I click continue. Kaka's 9 against the Dragons was worth it, says Steve Wright. And Duggan pointing out there is only one defender in front of him, which we did comment on before kick-off, that it was risky doing this, particularly away from home. There's nothing else coming through from Smuts, so I'm going to kick off the second half. Are we expecting more of the same, even though the goalkeeper's changed, or have Dragons got enough quality, Rob, to get back into this?
It's going to finish 2-0. Yeah, I've made the stage. Stop the rot. 2-0. Let's get this over with. Let's get it.
It's actually 3-0. Etzeberria has scored again, and there'll be no need to slow this game down. It's the least competitive so far. It's 4-0. Ronaldinho with his 10th for the season.
There's a lovely bit of form, Lettersford are showing at the right time of the season, isn't it? It looks really good for them.
I think they're definitely still very much in the mix. To make the final.
Yeah.
And we're into injury time, just waiting for the final whistle to put all the Dragons fans out of their misery. There we go, 4-0 to Lettersford. And really, I mean, stats-wise, Dragons weren't terrible. It's just Lettersford were very, very good in front of goal.
Clinical.
Let's have a look at the home side. So Ronaldinho getting man of the match. He got an assist and a goal, Rob. And you were talking about him at half-time.
Yeah, what more can you say? He's exactly what it says on the tin, mate. He's got an assist, he's got the goal, he's got a 10.
And perhaps, I don't want to use the term unsung because he's only just come back into the team, but Constantinou, he was the main man for Dragons last year. Yeah. They got to the final, but he was not claimed to be. It was always said if Dragons had a better striker. Well, Dragons now have better strikers, but Constantinou is playing for a Lettersford team who, again, are on course to make the top 6.
That's it. Again, it's all about the systems, isn't it? You know, people, you use the right system, and I think you can, in this league, you can pretty much get a tune out of anybody. Everyone's got that certain quality, haven't they? Mm-hmm. So, you get the system right, and you'll bang them in, no problems. Well, again, he's got great stats, hasn't he? So,
and we'll have just a quick reflection on the away side, Ian. I mean, another manager and assistant manager will just be glad that there's another 90 minutes closer to their season being over, I think.
They will, and I think the worrying thing for Dragons is the principles behind the setup, and there's a reason why 13 out of 14 managers play 2 at the back, and there's a reason why they ignore the criticism and why most of them are more competitive than this. And
scathing.
It'll be interesting to see whether that continues or whether they fall in line.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to Mr. Megahorse as his assault on the Super League continues. We go on to Fulchester versus Astor. And just the one change for Fulchester, Rob, and it's because it's a big one. Nicky Butt is finally suspended.
Good.
So it means that Prutton comes in.
At time.
Other than that, it's as was.
But I don't think that's too much of a. I think Prutton's absolutely sensational. Like
very well for him, hasn't he, Prutton?
Yeah, 3 or 4 seasons. Prutton is, and being a Forest fan, obviously, I'm a big Prutton fan as well. So I don't think he's going to have too much trouble here to be just fine there instead of Butter.
And they find themselves currently second in the league, so we know that Ian will obviously have one eye on this game particularly. But have you been impressed with Fulchester this season, Rob?
I don't want to be nice to Macca because of how horrible he is to me. And and also I'll take that on as well as that. It's your egging on of him the other week, Fifey. Now I've got you in person was absolutely pathetic. And
egging on of him.
Yeah, you were egging him on. You were winding him up. You're saying, "Oh, what do you think about Spartak?" Knowing full well he was going to fucking obliterate me.
There's no different to me offering you the chance to talk about every team, though, is it?
But I'm not, I'm not that type of guy. I'm not, I think
the guy who gives the 4-point checklist on Twitter of who he was going to set straight. He's not that type of guy.
No, it's not in my nature, like I said, I like Macca. Macca's a great guy. He's a lovely guy. Well, probably not a lovely guy. He's a decent guy. But he can fuck himself. So.
Ian, just a question linked mainly because of who you have at your disposal. Are Fulchester arguably doing the best without, in the game, the big name strikers? I mean, yes, I know Michael Owen's there and I know Shearer's there, but they're not like the elite players on the game, are they?
You can't compare Fulchester's team or squad to my team or squad because to a certain extent, I don't think Macca really cares who he has in his team or who he has in his squad as long as he's got 2 or 3 certain players. I think he's a little bit of one of these. It was Ferguson, wasn't it, who had the famous Zidane quote, and I think you could probably say something similar to Macca with Veron. Give me Veron and 10 pieces of wood. Yeah, because that's kind of the approach that he takes. Although the other United guys do chip in, and he always manages to find 2 centre backs who completely pull it out of the bag. My squad, I've got 10 guys in that team, and I didn't even start the draft with. I mean, my apart from one player, my entire team is entirely transfers, which you can't say for Fulchester because I think Macca is generally settles for who he's got and just gets a hell of a lot out of them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, Rob, you wanted to come in on that?
Yeah. Just to put, I get slagged off by Macca for having Poulsen and Holland, right? Just get back to his squad for me, with G5E. Yeah, fucking Jan Vennegoor of Hesseling, Burak Okan, right? Fucking Ramsey, Bobo Bow, fuck off, get fucked. John fucking Curtis, fuck off.
John Curtis, who was his specific transfer from out of the league, spent $6 million on him.
A chump.
Well, I appreciate
14 million on Batistuta, so
I appreciate the comment. Now, Ian, when it comes to Asta, Tato, when he submitted his team, he admitted he'd been watching some old episodes of the Super League, and that's what inspired this team.
Oh, Christ! So he's been watching the Wall of Parma, which it's my team that Fulchester are trying to chase down. So I'm nervous when I see them at home to this setup, and I'm obviously rooting for Astor to get something out of the game. And I look at that and think, are they going to get something out of the game? Yes, you've got some dangerous players up top, but are they going to see the ball? I honestly don't know. And I think when you've got a DMC as strong as Scally, do you really need all those guys around him? I don't know.
So firstly, Macca's just put in the chat, I bet this bloody works now for Tato. But what everyone in watching this can't see was Rob's reaction when I showed this team, and then just how his expression continued to change from despair to disgust to hilarity while Ian was talking, the more he looked at it. Rob, would you like to just pass judgment on what Tato's done here?
I don't even know what to say. I'm embarrassed for him. He's going to get absolutely slaughtered here. He's going to get absolutely slaughtered. Look, he's got one at the back against Macca who scores goals. He's got 5 DMs. Emre, fucking I think I'm going to say it. I think this is the worst side I've ever seen in the Super League battle.
Wow.
Both tactically
So-
and personally. I think that's diabolical.
So just to clarify, because I know what Macca will be thinking with you both saying that, particularly you, Rob, is now you've called it the worst team, they are absolutely going to win this game.
Yeah, we won the Leicester. Yeah.
1-0 Aston. Ian?
I'll be doing cartwheels if this is 1-0 Aston. 4-0 Fulchester.
I mean, just having a look, Megahorse saying this will be interesting, Yen saying 5-0 Fulchester, Potato saying 3-0 Fulchester, and Steve Wright saying that 5DM line is awful, bar Salihamidzic. Let's kick off and see what happens. And it's already 1-0. Bishkan has scored for the home side. It's all blue. It has been all blue and white so far. Although Aston starting to create a little bit themselves, with a chance or two, certainly getting some corners and free kicks. They're certainly coming into it more now, but the first half has flown by. I mean, that's not zoomy, and that has actually flown by.
I literally only saw Biscan scores, and that was it.
Both sides have created a couple of chances. Rob, were you expecting Fulchester to maybe dominate a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they should be, really, shouldn't they? I mean, you look at that horrendous atrocity that Tay spat out there, then they should be all over them like a tramp on hot chips, shouldn't they? But
Dimble's saying in the chat that Poulsen would improve it, and Tato just wants to clarify that you guys aren't a fan of the tactic.
well, people slag off Poulsen, but he's got 5 goals and 3 assists so far. So your opinion means nothing to me. So.
Scott Sadler suggesting that Potato Mourinho's integrity has to be questioned here.
I think what needs to be questioned is what substances he's been taking this afternoon to put that side together.
We commented on the attacking players, Ian, just before we click over, because Mac has already said keepers is. Ronaldo and Owen need to be offering a bit more?
Well, I mean, are we not waiting for Macca to hook him? Owen doesn't last more than 45 minutes if he hasn't scored a hat-trick, does he? So are we not likely to see Shearer on for Owen? Ronaldo, it's the same old story, isn't it? Really, never does an awful lot.
Practice to deceive, yeah.
Scott, again, pointing out, guys with Nout to play for going 1 at the back away from home against top 6 sides. He's not particularly pleased with Aston and Dragons right now. Rob, let's have a look at the Aston team. And in fairness, the defensive players are actually doing all right. It's the likes of Rayard and Fowler who...
Well, that's because there's 6 of them in like a 10-metre space. So what do you expect? If he keeps this at 1-0, then it'll be some kind of defensive masterclass. I'm fully expecting a capitulation in the second half.
Well, Fowler's coming off at half-time for Landon Donovan. Sorry, what was that reaction?
Wait.
Rock said he wants to see a no GK round at the same time as Jens saying he's going naught at the back next match.
Well, made no difference, Jens. It'll still be...
We kick off the second half, and it was Aston who started the quickest, but we're already at the hour mark. Again, this is flying by, not much happening. Let's just slow it down so you guys have something to read. Aston certainly seen more in it. He couldn't miss, and he hasn't missed, and Rayard has equalised. And suddenly, Ian, in textbook fashion, has not reacted, although there is a slight smirk I can see in the camera. Rob, on the other hand, just shaking his head in disbelief. Jim Bellos, another one of the infamous referees. Giggs looked like he might have picked up a bit of a knock, but he's carrying on. I believe that was 4 minutes added on time. Aston have taken a point. And Ian, your instant reaction?
My instant reaction is that Tato bought a calendar off me this week, and if he hadn't already paid me, I'd have given it him for nothing.
And Rob, after all the slating that Tato got for that, it worked.
I don't think we should be looking at Tato's integrity. I think we should be looking at Macca's integrity to not beat that side that's been put out.
And for someone like Scott Sadler to call Tato's integrity into question in the chat is just scandalous.
Some of the instant reaction, Rock saying what an awful advert for football that was. Macca's got Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Scott saying Tato's at the wheel. And Macca and Tato now exchanging pleasantries. Let's have a quick look at the match stats. And to be fair, Astor were good value for it, Ian.
They were, I think, humble pie all round because they've competed. They've won more of the tackles. They've won more of the headers. They've had more shots on goal, more on target. I mean, every stat, pretty much, they're pretty much on top.
Let's start with the away side, and I believe it was you actually, Ian, who said when you've got someone as strong as Neil Scally, do you need all those other players? And it's Neil Scally who's got man of the match.
Yeah, and he didn't really need all those guys around him, did he? Imagine what the score would have been if he'd have pushed a couple of them up.
Mac is saying match stats. Oh my God! Can anyone recommend a good laptop? I think this is the 5th time this season a laptop's gone out of his window. Landon Donovan coming on, making a bit of an impact as well. Rayed's had a fair bit of criticism since he was brought in, Rob. But what a crucial goal that could be.
Well, in terms of the Super League, yeah, it could be crucial. Yeah, it's I just can't believe they've drawn the Fulchester away with that formation. I just can't.
Well, let's give you the chance to comment then. So Prutton, the man we spoke about, came in for Butt and performed very well. He got the same ratings Butt would have done. And
solid.
It just looks like the attacking players haven't turned up because
the
defensive players have all got good ratings.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? You know, Owen's not turned up, has he? Ronaldo's not turned up again. Yeah, the wife beater there only on a 7 as well. So, you know, I think Macca needs to have a look at this. To be honest, if you can't beat the worst side ever put out in the Super League, how can you have any intention of winning the whole thing?
Dragons and Lettersford are their last 2 games. Is this 2 massive points dropped, Ian?
It is, yeah. I'd be feeling that way if it was me. I mean, that's been me in certain situations. So I know how Macca's probably feeling right now. I think you hit the nail on the head. He doesn't have the strikers. When you look and say that you've got Nicky Butt was missing, Nicky Butt probably doesn't get in the team tonight because his replacement's got a 9 and the guy who plays alongside him's got the goal. So he's been absolutely surplus to requirements. It's really up front where nothing's at the back of the net.
What this Fulchester team really needed was the textbook Chris Sutton moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, where is Chris Sutton? Is he injured? Because he normally does come on, doesn't he, in that situation?
Let's go to the next in line, and it's Gazelles v Dudley. And Gazelles, with a couple of players missing, Rob, have gone with this. The thing that stands out for me, looking back at the last game, is Duggan is backing his big-name defensive midfielder to do the job on his own and throwing more people forward.
Yeah, he needs the win because I'm obviously right behind him. I don't understand. It never works for me. This whole 2 forward arrows going in the middle to 1 for. You know, I never understand that. But you know, I think he played that last week and it worked for him. So you know, who am I to comment?
And so, as you say, you're obviously on the hunt for that 6th place position. So you're hoping that Dudley do you a favour tonight?
Yeah.
Can you say that without laughing?
Yeah, it's just not going to happen, is it? I think Gazelles will win this at a canter. But yeah, we can dream, can't we?
Ian, this is what Steve's come up with, another alteration. Lopez and Amoroso supporting Tony. Again, back in his big name defensive midfielder to do the job on his own. And as we've spoken about at some length in recent shows, that the centre-back partnership certainly, the acquisition of Perry has certainly improved things for them and coincided with an upturn in form.
And Rustico's been in and out of the team, and he has actually done a decent job at times when he's come in. So it's a fantastic partnership, and I think it's possible. I mean, I'm going to disagree with Rob here, and I think that as resurgent as Gazelles have been, and as much of a renaissance as they're enjoying, I know I bang on about it every time I come on comms, but Dudley Hill are an away from home team, and I think this is probably. It's probably their strongest side they've put out all season. Guys in the right positions. Tomasi can certainly do that job on his own. So yeah, I won't be surprised to see Dudley Hill get something out of this game.
I was just checking. I couldn't remember how many Sigalko had to see, because Luca Toni had a bit of a spell where he looked like he was going to compete for the Golden Boot, but he's 5 behind with free to play. He's going to have to go some to get anywhere near it, isn't he?
Yeah, but Sigalko hasn't scored for about 8 weeks anyway, so he's got a chance.
Well, he's playing me tonight, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
Ian, what's your prediction for this one, please?
I'm going to go for a Desmond.
Desmond, Rob?
What
do you want? What do you want, and what do you think will happen?
Yeah, well, I want a Dudley 6-0, but I'm expecting a Gazelles 2-0.
Okay, let's kick this one off and see what happens. I know that these two have been talking a lot between themselves building up to this game. A lot of excitement when these two go head to head. Taylor Mourinho first with a prediction saying 1-2, so he's backing Dudley, and Dudley creating a couple of chances. Certainly not being overawed by the higher placed hosts, but the first half nearly an end already, and Toni with a chance, and there is the goal for Luca Toni, his 10th of the season, on the stroke of half time, getting a reaction from Camp Sloths, and they have dominated, Rob.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian said this is possibly the best team they've put out all season, and they are showing it.
Yeah, they look good value for their 1-0 win. Out Zanoni with a 5. That's not great, is it? To be fair, the stats aren't great, are they?
No, but is that because it's the more defensive-minded players who are getting like the 5s and 6s because Gazelles haven't offered anything?
Yeah, well, let's hope this continues, because I could really do with a Dudley victory here. So, in a purely selfish. And obviously, it'd be great for Steer as well, to let them get a little 3 points, them a little taste of victory before I snatch it away from them next week.
And Ian, when you look at the Gazelles team, obviously they're missing a couple of players themselves, but you look at that bench as well. Is there anything there that would sort of jump out at you, say that player will change this game?
Well, the best 2 players on the bench are a goalkeeper and a centre back, in my opinion. So possibly not. No, I think it's interesting that you look at Pinardi, who hasn't been able to get involved in the game. Castillo hasn't been able to get involved in the game, but the guy who's seen the ball the most for Dudley Hill is playing in that kind of position. So they're obviously able to get the ball up to AMC and Gazelles aren't.
A lot of talk in the chat about Luca Toni being perfect striker for the Super League and just how good he is. Duggan is making a change, so Raul swap with Castillo. Van der Vaart for Castillo.
Steve, getting Barrymore if I finish this tonight.
On for Steven Gerrard. Just like that. Ian Campbell saying Tony's on his way to Haggis. Do we believe that, or is that just Ian setting some rumours off?
Well, it depends what happens in the redraft, doesn't it?
Let's kick off the second half and see if Gazelles can find their way back into this. It's critical for them that they do. And it's Pinardi, the man that Ian pointed out. He has got the equaliser, but Dudley again coming straight back, looking to take the lead again.
Ex-Sloth, Pinardi, textbook.
This is going to be a crucial 20 minutes for Gazelles. And a low drive at goal. And now Dudley, this is end to end. Amoroso hits the bar and Gazelles deal with it. But here come Dudley again. Is Steve going to put a massive spanner in the works for the Gazelles' top 6 hopes? Or can Gazelles get this crucial goal that they need? And a fine save. Finnan picks it up. Ian, what's your gut feeling? Are we getting a late winner here?
Don't think we're getting anything here. I think this ends 1-1, but there's an awful lot to go yet. A lot of action as well. This is one of the first screens where I'm seeing an awful lot of action here. So it just seems to be a little bit limp, doesn't it?
2 minutes been added on. Duggan would have wanted to see a lot more than that. But here come Dudley again, and it's Luca Toni. Ferdinand's been sent off. 2 yellow cards. Now, Duggan always screams one at the back. So do you anticipate with him needing to go for goals that he's going to follow his own advice and go one at the back?
Yeah, I wouldn't even consult him. I would just click continue here. Yeah.
If only that was the right way to do things. Just while we wait for the confirmation, Jens saying, was it Jens? Yeah, Jens saying Big Shagger on his way to the halls, and Scott piling on the pressure. No, Duggan isn't. He isn't risking it. He is doing this. And the man who has got 5 goals for him this season is being withdrawn.
Now all of a sudden those arrows up front make them look like the Three Stooges, don't they?
Yeah, Scott piling on the pressure saying could be cues if Gazelles don't. Oh, is he meaning questions of Gazelles or actual some teams getting some cues?
Some cues, yeah.
Let's see how that affects the final few minutes. Well, Gareth makes a save from the free kick, and there is the final whistle. It has finished 1-1, and well, Rob, your instant reaction to that one, please.
Well, it's better than I was expecting, to be honest. I thought Gazelles were going to win tonight, but yeah, well played, Dudley. Looks like they dominated it. To be fair, didn't they? Well, pretty even, but they had the better of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just a bit disappointed. I shouldn't be looking for favours, really. I should be in that top 6 already. So, yeah.
Duggan's saying that it's a massive point, Ian, considering they only turned up for 45 minutes.
It's a massive point in the context of the game, but in the context of the season, and we're not saying it's 2 points dropped. I think he's gone into this game as one of the form sides in the league, and he's done a cracking job of getting them on a bit of a roll. But I mean, it looks like 2 points dropped to me.
Yeah, I personally would agree. If they have realistic ambitions of qualifying for the top 6, they cannot be A, performing like they did in the first half, and B, dropping points, with all due respect to Steve, to a team that has nothing to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, knowing that the type of character that Steve is, I mean, there's always pride to play for, and he always wants to put in a good show. I suppose also they don't want to finish bottom, Dudley, to be fair. So there's still that. And the other thing you've got to say as well is, I mean, they don't very often play badly, Dudley. They might not score an awful lot of points, they might not win an awful lot of games, but they don't very often play badly. And I've been in that position myself in the Super League a lot of times. I know how it feels.
Yeah.
Duggan's suggesting that if you beat Sloths, Ian, then it's actually a good point. End of story.
Okay.
Having a quick flick through the stats, Raul again failing to deliver, but Zeleas, the man that I pointed out before kickoff, doing a fantastic job. The subs, as who was it mentioned? I think it was Duggan himself said the subs were key, and all of the subs came on and had an impact, even Udeze for his 3 minutes that he got.
Yeah, they've had a much better second half there, haven't they? Really, I mean. They have, in all fairness, I mean, they might not have had the best of the first half, but if you look at the stats for the second half in the way of tackles, headers, all that sort of stuff, and they've edged everything. So I think that's probably where those numbers do come from.
Steve saying he knew he wasn't winning when Dragons lost, and Jens said it's an absolute disgrace the way the teams with nothing to play for are being talked about. Well, if you want to be talked about more favourably, Jens, then be challenging for the top 6.
That's it.
I can only pander to you all so much. You know, you've got to do your bit by actually performing on a Wednesday and Sunday night. Let's move on. And is this the penultimate game? No, because that's your game. Churchtown we want. Churchtown versus Bostock. And Dimble again mixing it up. And again going for an interesting tactic name, Rob. John Terry is captain, but to be fair, I quite like the look of this Churchtown team.
I do think as well. Since Mr. Tato's come in, a lot of people have been doing these different arrows, different little crazy arrows here and there. So yeah, I like the look of that as well. Depero is strong, Vikrami's strong. You know, you got Bobby Carlos, Okanokoro, JT. Yeah, it's decent. You should be able to get goals out of Santa Cruz as well. To be fair, he's another one of these guys who it's really. Because when you come in, it's really difficult, you know, to get a footing in, and everyone's so used to the systems and how things work. It's really hard to get going and get wins on the board. So
I am listening, but I'm just replying directly to something that's been said in the chat. So please carry on, Ian, with your assessment of this team as well.
I think he's found a decent shape. He's found 8 or 9 decent starters. I think he's 1 or 2 away from a very competitive team. Christian Tim's a good acquisition. I'd probably slightly disagree with Rob and say that I'd like to see Elbert in ahead of Santa Cruz. Panucci decent at right wing back, but I think if you could improve at right wing back, or maybe find some room in this team for Hack and Mild, then I think probably you're just about there. The keeper's had a really good season. Can they get anything out of Riquelme? I mean, I've been in this league a long time, and I barely remember seeing any of the top managers that have come in ever get anything out of Riquelme at this level. So I think he's 90% of the way there. He's one of those guys who probably Dimble probably deserves another transfer window to see what he can do and see how much he can edge closer and finally make it his own team and push top 6.
Where does Hedman rank in terms of potential for goalkeeper of the season, Ian?
He's all right. You know, I'm a bit conflicted because it was I got rid of him to bring Totti in the Del Piero deal. He was the kind of the make weight, and he has done a really good job. Is there much difference between Hedman, Prohl, Poom? I don't know. Would any of those guys have done a similar job? I don't know. But yeah, he's done okay. He's obviously had Okaronko in front of him all season, and Vialli, who's had a decent season until he's become unavailable, and then Terry's come in and done well. So, I mean, he has had a good goalkeeper, but he's actually done a decent job of protecting that goalkeeper at times as well as Dimble. So yeah, fair play to him.
And Rob, this is the Bostock team under the tactic name Bostock Stop the Rot. And Scott was that confident he posted his team in the group chat instead of privately.
Lovely. I think Bostock are quite similar to us, but they just do it a bit better. He's greater than the sum of his parts, isn't he? You know,
absolutely.
He's got Jax, Ortega, Lai, Lasisi. I'm not even going to try and even attempt to pronounce, Lefthorapoulos, the goalkeeper. I don't want to butcher it too much. But yeah, he's definitely greater than some of his parts, and he's doing really well. So,
I think it has to be said, we've highlighted a couple of strikers tonight, but Anelka's, this probably his best season in the Super League, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Nicholas Nemeth, he's banging them in almost one in two. So you can't really argue with that, can you? So,
Rob, if I can ask you first for your prediction for this one, please.
I love the away kit as well. Looking at a 2-0 Bostock, I think.
And Ian, with Bostock still within, obviously touching distance of the top 2, and definitely yourself still, are you hoping for a little bit of a favour from Churchtown here?
It'd be nice, but I think, like Rob mentioned earlier on, none of us should be looking for favours. We should all be taking up control of our own destiny. I don't think Bostock are going to go 4 defeats on the trot, so I think they'll be getting something here.
Okay. Well, we are 26 minutes into it, and Churchtown certainly had a chance or two. And we've got David Dwight refereeing, and it's Roberto Carlos on half an hour who gives the home side the lead. We're seeing a few teams struggling against lower table opposition tonight, and we've reached half time. Again, there's calls of an agenda and no respect. There's plenty of respect, but respect has to be earned. Bostock having plenty of shots, but not doing it very efficiently, Rob. And Churchtown, 2 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal.
Again, Churchtown more efficient. Sorry, I was just lost. I'm looking at these absolutely ridiculous comments in the YouTube chat. What's going on?
Well, basically, I'm always too nice, and the one day that people start calling me out for comments, so I start calling them out for being shit. I'm now getting slaughtered for it. Yes, Steve, everyone has the same amount of respect as a person, but if your team is performing shit, I will say your team is performing shit. If we could just focus on the game in action, please, gents. And,
no, I don't want it. We're all adults here. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're little children. If I tell my little boy he's not doing something properly, he goes, "Oh, Dad, yeah, that's fine." Yeah, if he can handle it, and he's 4 years old, and by the way, he came downstairs covered in shit earlier, which is why I had to go. If he can handle it, Campbell and Jens, right, go and get a fucking room, have a cuddle, and come out when you're fucking grown up. Yeah.
Ian, have you been impressed with Churchtown's performance?
I have, yeah. When you come away from the first half and you're all 7s and 8s barring one player, then you've got to be pretty happy. But if you look at the match stats, then it is Bostock Stanley that are probably offering slightly more. So I fully expect Scott's boys to take something from the second half still.
And Rob, no surprise to see that Roberto Carlos' goal came courtesy of a free kick.
Fantastic. Beautiful stuff. That's what we're here for.
Obviously, this result suits you a bit, Ian. But if I was to put you in Scott's shoes for a moment, and obviously you're not really one, as we allude to all the time, for a halftime change, you need to really be getting something out of this. When you've seen some of the other results tonight, what are you looking at here? That unlike some of the other teams, Bostock do have players on the bench who could turn this round for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say anything to Scott about his number 10. I mean, he's had a love-hate relationship with Collins this season, and he's been in and out of the team. He's offered something, then he's offered nothing. He doesn't look great on paper this time out, but he's always capable of doing something, and surely he's potentially got to be able to contribute a little bit more than Ortega, Jacks, and Gonzalez.
Well, you can comment on the subs if you like, Ian, because it's Collins for Jacks and Welsh for Neville.
Okay, I'd go along with both of those, yeah.
Oh, he's gone Collins for Ortega, hasn't he?
I don't have the chat open tonight, so...
That's all right. So he's changed it last minute. So it's Collins for Ortega and Welsh for Neville.
Yeah, I mean, any of those three up AMC, you got to bring Collins in for one of them, and we all know what Welsh has been capable of, and I wonder whether there's a little bit... Scott knows what he's doing, and he's been around long enough to know that he's seen what Welsh has done in Churchtown colours in the past, so this might be the game for him.
Well, let's see if Collins and or Welsh can have the effect required by the away side. They certainly seem to be dominating the text and therefore the chances thus far, as we just passed the hour mark. But again, Churchtown, they're one of them teams where every time they do come forward, they look dangerous. They look like they might score. Slowed it down to see if we get some drama in the last 20 minutes. Ian thinking I'm away on a date. There's an appeals for a penalty, but Mr. Dwight says play on. Certainly been no dates here, pal. You guys would definitely be amongst the first to know if there was one. Don't you worry, because I'd be asking for advice on how not to fuck it up. We're into the final 10 minutes, and still Churchtown lead. In what's been a solid defensive performance by them, it appears to me anyway. And Steve pointing out, as we looked at the start of the game, Churchtown's home form is title winning. It's just their away form that's let them down, really. Are we going to get a late goal? Bostock could really do with at least getting a point out of this, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And Churchtown come forward again. Can they wrap it up? They have wrapped it up. It's Santa Cruz. Oh, it's been disallowed. Another one disallowed. But the final whistle's gone.
Very solid though, that in the end from Churchtown. It felt very solid.
But I mean, again, Bostock created lots of chances, but just weren't getting them on target at all. I think you were right. It looked to me like Churchtown were being quite resolute, Ian. And when we look at the stats, look at all the 8s for the defensive players there.
Yeah, if you can build it around Okoronkwo and then you've got maybe Terry or Viali coming alongside him. It always does seem reasonably solid. And this time round, they've only had to get the one goal to nick it. So, yeah, well played, Dimble.
And another 8 for Headman, who we spoke about beforehand. Rob, if you'd like to comment on the away side, the goalkeeper getting man of the match for a string of fine saves.
I mean, I mean, the core's not performed as he's unlucky there. I think to not get a 1-1. But all credit to Churchtown. They've done really well. Pulled a big result out of the bag. Like Steve Wright says, home form is fantastic. Their away form is absolutely arbitrary, isn't it? So.
And again, it's potentially another big result for many teams this season.
Definitely.
If you're Scott, are you frustrated, Rob, that Collins hasn't had more of an impact on the second half?
Yeah, furious. I mean, I'd be playing DC from the start, really, all the time. Because remember, I swapped him for Vieri, we did the swap for. So almost like for like, and look how well Vieri does for me. I'd have Collins in there from the start, really.
Yeah. Dimble pointing out now he's picked up 24 points at home and 6 points away.
Mikey.
We go then.
Well, congratulations on the latest win at home. Commiserations to Scott. And that brings us on to our main event. We're finally here. And Ian, you're first up. Talk us through the changes you've made, why, and how confident you are.
2 changes. Henri comes back in. He plays every game there when fit. And he's back available, so he comes in. Samuel back in from suspension, comes back in for Novotny, swaps back over, Cannavaro back on the right, and that's it. Like I put in my tweet earlier on in the week. Full strength, no excuses.
And Rob, when you see this team and you see Burn at full strength, I don't want to use the phrase last chance saloon as it is already, but are you concerned about what might happen tonight?
I'll say 4 words, 5 feet, and that's all you're going to get from me. Stop Cizalco, stop Burn.
There's a few managers who are of that opinion. I know Gazelles were very much of that opinion last time out when they won 1-0. Let's have a look at your team then, Rob. And you've moved away from the 3 up top.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking was that basically was the old stop Cizalco analogy, is try and get, Milito, Gamara, Desai, and big, sexy Christian Poulsen there, in and around him, in and around the bottom area, sorting him out.
Get Christian Poulsen in and around the bottom area.
Absolutely. I think I've got a chance here. I think I've got a chance. But like I say, we're at home. Last chance saloon. I see Edwards has stood up.
Yeah, he does this. he has to stand. I'm a pacer. He's a stander.
I'm pretty confident.
Going into this one, obviously, before a ball was kicked, you were level on points with Gazelles. You know what's happened to them tonight. Yeah. You also know what's happened to Devils. Obviously, you know what's happened to everybody. It's not over if you lose this one, but do you really need to pick up at least a point here just to keep it interesting?
I need to win here.
You need to win it.
I've got to win it. If I don't win, that's my playoff hopes. If I don't win tonight, then that's the top 6 settled, I think.
Ian pointing out your tactic name as well. He spotted it. Would either of you, I don't enforce it for games including the co-coms, would either of you like to base a prediction?
2-0 Sloths.
2-0 to Sloths. Ian?
No.
Nope, you're just quite happy stood there. Ryan suggesting Lettersford could be top depending on this result. Let's kick off then and see what happens. I won't really have to do much talking because we'll tell by particularly your reactions, Rob, because Ian will be silent regardless of what happens. But the first half seems to be flying by quite quickly. But arguably we have the best of it, and there is Cizalco with his 15th of the season.
Nice to see David Dwight's refereed in Perth and in Newcastle tonight.
He has, yes, David Dwight refereeing again, as seems to be customary in the Super League, at least one referee. And Totti makes it 2 just before half-time. Rob's head is in his hands. Ian is still not really reacting to anything. But this... It's not been awful, Rob. It's just, again, Burns' big players are putting the ball in the net.
Yeah. yeah. That's it, isn't it? Cizalco's turned up and that's it. He's dragged him through another game by the looks of it. So.
Well, I'll let you have a look at your stats first as the home side and decide if there's anything you would like to change.
So I swapped out Enigma Teeling because he had no, no morale. So I swapped him out. So let's just get him back on and let's get Mantaras on for Vieri.
Bringing Vieri off.
Yeah, bring him off. Yeah.
Okay, interesting changes. And Ian, you've managed to sit down for half time. You've had a chance to reflect. 2 goals up. You must be delighted.
Yeah, it felt decent. Happy enough with that. And I'll confirm no changes, please.
No changes at all. Jens saying Van der Sar will never play for the Sloths again. Yeah, I did that with Matt Santini, didn't I? He had an awful one. He never played for him again. Never played for me again. So Van der Sar, done. Well, we're up to 20 minutes. It's not looking like one we're going to need to slow down, although Sloth's starting to create a little bit. I get it. Here can Burn again. Oh, and there was the substitute with a chance, but he couldn't put it in. It seems all Sloths at the minute, but they just can't score. And there's a red card for Melito. One at the back. Yeah, fuck it. And we carry on towards full time. We're into injury time now. And there is the 2-0 win for Burn. Ian returns to his seat after standing for the full 90 minutes. Ian, I'll come to you first. Victorious, congratulations. Stats-wise, it looks an even game, but again, you're one of the teams who were able to put in a potent performance up top.
It felt decent, yeah. It felt really good. I thought we were strong from 1 to 11. I mean, I wouldn't be as cocky as to put it down to 6 words and don't stop Sigalco, don't stop Burn. But
you say that, but he did get man of the match.
He got man of the match. He was backed up by Totti, who's one of the top assist makers in the league. 2 centre backs who were probably the best centre back partnership in the league. So
I'll be honest, and I'm probably slightly biased. I think Hodgie might have something to say about that.
I think Montero and Nesta and Cannavaro, Samuel are probably pretty inseparable. And
to be fair, we have already commented on how good Dudley's centre-back partnership is.
But I think I'm happy with that. I think I've finally been able to put my strongest 11 out, and they might be on a bit of a bad run, Sloths, but they are one of the strongest teams around. Hard luck to Rob. He's a great lad. He's a great manager, and he's got a good team, and they are dangerous. But we've kept them quiet. I can't say them all. Well chuffed, especially off the back of 2 defeats.
And Rob, the substitute keeper, came on and did a much better job as you anticipated. Unfortunately for you, it's another defeat, and more Sloths are falling apart again.
Fell apart. It's over. That's it. It's all over.
You think that's it done now?
No.
I don't know. I think it is. I've just got there's no form. I just can't seem to pick up a.
Potentially say Roberto back for the next game, though. Make a big difference.
Yeah, he is. But I think it's too little, too late now. I've lost too many on the bounce now. So yeah. So well done, Ian, mate. Congratulations. Ian should have his cue tonight as well.
Well, let's go straight to it. And the top 3 have all received their cues. So congratulations to Northern Burn, congratulations to Lettersford, and congratulations to Fulchester. Just having a quick bit of maths. I think a Devils win and they get a cue on Tuesday. A Bostock win, they get a cue on Tuesday. Gazelles win, they should all but have their cue on Tuesday.
Well, if I lose, I mean, looking at that though, to be fair, there's 1 point in it, and I've got Dudley and Haggis. Haggis ain't going to do me no favours, are they? So
it'll look better, would he?
And Dudley's not going to do me any favours either. But they are with Zero back 2 winnable games. So, but again, I'm waiting for Gazelles to slip up, but we'll see what happens. It's maybe not all doom and gloom at Lubbock.
Well, again, congratulations to the 3 teams that do it. As we say, Devils, Bostock and Gazelles make up the rest of the top 6. Sloths and Loco.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, yes, Haggis, Churchtown and even Astor are still mathematically in it, but I think basically Devils and Bostock are all but there. And it's any one of the other 3 for me.
Don't be surprised to see Loco slip in there.
You still think Loco might nick it?
He likes to slip in unannounced. Yeah, I think he could be.
Well, I mean, we had a quick look with, was it Macca last time out? But we'll have another look. 2 games to go. So Tuesday night, the teams that are involved. So Burn, Lettersford both already qualified. It's all about finishing in the top 2 now, so that one's crucial. Gazelles travel to Haggis. Sloths travel to Dudley. And Loco are also away to Bostock, who aren't there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So 3 huge games. I'm interested to know who Ryan gets on co-coms for that one. And then final game of the season, Gazelles host Bostock. Boston at home to Devils. Sloths at home to in fairness, mate, you've arguably got the easier of the 3 run-ins.
I don't.
Oh man, let's just scroll down to have a look at the race at the bottom. So we've got Dudley on 23, Dragons 24, Halls 26. I think Astor and Churchtown are safe now. Well, they're definitely mathematically safe from finishing bottom. So one word answer, Ian, who's going to finish bottom out of those 3?
Dragons.
Rob?
Dudley, but only because I need to beat them next week. So
okay. Gents, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for this evening. Your comments have been witty and insightful as expected. Given that Ryan's doing the show on Tuesday, I'm going to keep the game on and do the packs tonight for everyone. So you two are more than welcome to stay on if you want, and I will make the Zoom chat available for anyone who wants to come on and just chat about tonight's action. But apart from that, enjoy the show with Ryan on Tuesday. I look forward to concluding the season with as many of you live on Zoom as possible on Friday, and the playoffs all start on Sunday from Super League HQ. Thank you very much and good night.
Cheers, guys. Good night.
Cheers, boys.